So, welcome back to yet another success story with me, Shagunarya. And today we have with us one of the OG success stories of the iCFN course, which is Padmashri. So, welcome, Padmashri.
Thank
And we're so glad to have you.
Same here. I'm very, very happy to do anything that is associated with iThrive.
And it's always lovely to hear. And the fact that you've been one of our first few members of the iCFN course, it wasn't even called iCFN back then.
Yeah.
But it's good to have the OG gangster with us here. Gangster back.
I think Mugda can probably endorse this, but I think I was the first to register, not first few. But
Okay, you were the first
I,
person.
I, I think so. Or maybe I was the first to get accepted, maybe, but definitely.
A win is a win. We count that.
Yeah.
But Padmashri, again, like you say, you're the first person to actually register for the course that you were running that time. And it was very different to what we're teaching right now. You're a live faculty member with us currently, so you know the difference, right? What actually motivated you to join the course? What was the first instinct within your head when you first heard about it?
So I'll tell you a backstory before I answer this question, okay? So a little bit about uh, where I come from. So I completed my post-graduation in clinical nutrition in the year 2002. And except for like a 9-month internship period in the hospital, I had never really worked directly with clients or patients. In fact, most of my work for the first 10, 15 years of my professional life involved things like conducting awareness programs, designing blueprints for consumer outreach programs, which were predominantly conducted by pharmaceutical companies back then or FMCG companies, training of dietitians and recruitment of dietitians for various projects, creating content for academic courses. This is all that I did. There was never like a direct interaction with any patient or client. And I consciously stayed away from one to one personalized consults, mainly because I thought I didn't have the patience or the maturity, maybe lack of empathy also to counsel patients, you know, to sit there and explain to them and listen to their rejections and their excuses and all of that. I really didn't have it in me to deal with all that. In hindsight, I think I probably also shied away from it because I felt I didn't have the tools or the strategies to kind of help them reach their goals. Yeah. Cut to 2018 when I had taken a year-long break from work. I had, my younger one was growing up and it was all getting too much. So I took a complete break from work. And when I came back, I decided to give personal consults a try because I started receiving a lot of, inquiries from friends and friends of friends. And I said, okay, let's try this. And you won't believe, I used to charge, if I'm not mistaken, around 700, 800 for one diet plan. Like the first consult, I used to charge them 800 rupees because I didn't know whether my protocols would even have an impact on these people.
Yeah.
And fortunately, my theoretical knowledge worked, and then we were able to bring about some discipline in their lives, and they did see changes. It's not that, you know, there was no change at all. But as a practitioner, I felt a sense of dissatisfaction, meaning I wasn't confident. I didn't like that I wasn't able to make a correlation between their symptoms and their blood reports. And I didn't even know what to look for in various blood reports. I knew bits and pieces of, what these blood parameters indicated, but not like the complete picture. And in 2019, through some, I don't know, divine intervention, Mugda spoke to me and she was looking for dietitians to recruit for her expanding practice. And she happened to mention that she was practicing functional nutrition. Now, coincidentally, just about 3, 4 months prior to that, I had started researching and I came across this concept of functional medicine. And it seemed to be like, an answer to what I was looking for. And I continued my personal research, of course. And in 2021, when Mugda announced she was going to launch this course, like I said, I just jumped. I said, no, I have to learn this properly. And if with my incomplete knowledge, I was able to give my clients whatever little bit of difference they could see in their health, if I really know the root cause analysis approach, and if I was able to give them solutions that made a difference, it would be amazing, right? So that was the reason why I picked this. And at that point in time, there were no Indian institutes or Indian organizations that were even talking about functional nutrition, forget offering a course. And international universities at that time who were offering this under the name of integrative nutrition did not have a very, I don't know, I didn't feel that they could do justice to what we're practicing here. And they were focusing too much on the coaching aspect of it and very little on the clinical nutrition aspect of it. So it made sense for me to do this. And I felt a connect with Mugdha. So that was like a big part of why I chose to do this course through iThrive.
And now you're part of the batch one that
Yeah.
was launched, right? We have successfully launched over 46 batches now. So, and you, like I said, you are also faculty with us. You teach FNT, you teach biochemistry. I mean, we've had to anybody who's not been a part of the course and who doesn't know Padmashri, you guys don't know what you're missing out on when it comes to teaching, because every feedback that we get is that, especially for biochemistry, they're like, I never thought that biochemistry could be made easy for us, right? And I wish we had that in college.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but like, how do you think that has changed? Like over the course of the years, how do you think? Because I know there have been a lot of changes, a lot of advancements in our, uh, processes also at Academy and what we've offered. And how do you think all of this, like what you've learned in the course, how has that impacted your personal and professional life?
Oh, there's an interesting thing. So I think I completed the course in May 2021. And the first client I onboarded was in, I think, June 2021. Okay. But before even I go to the specifics of that case, I did feel like I felt charged up. I felt a renewed sense of purpose as a nutritionist. Okay. I think I didn't do justice to my learning, my knowledge, maybe till that point. It's I feel so wrong even saying it, but that's the truth. And every time a new client would approach me, there was always a self doubt and an overwhelm that I used to experience. And I used to always feel that I may not be able to do justice. But after having finished the course, I think that self doubt and overwhelm is replaced by excitement and intrigue, because the root cause analysis approach is like solving a jigsaw puzzle. And the dopamine rush that you get, the adrenaline rush that you get every time you go through that process, if you've done it, only then you will know what I'm talking about. It's amazing. It gives you this real sense of satisfaction of having being able to answer somebody's uh, constant query, constant concern, and being able to validate people's feelings, saying, you're not making all your symptoms up. There is a correlation to what's happening inside your body, right? So that was a game changer for me professionally. Personally, by the time that was the peak of COVID, right? We were all sitting at home in the lockdown and all of that. So I think it gave me a sense of purpose because I was really looking forward to the lectures and I was learning something new that was there. But also, I'm so grateful for Mugda's belief that, humans are never meant to survive alone. We all belong to a community and we all should survive and thrive as a community. So I'm grateful for the community, the tribe that I met in all these years. And I feel that, it not only helps my clients because my knowledge and my, strategies always get like an upgrade when I interact in the tribe, but it's also that I'm always among like-minded people. They're always vibing at a great frequency and they make me feel like I'm not alone. I'm definitely not crazy and that my approach to healing is valid and it is valuable. And I think it is so important to kind of have that anchor because the mainstream can very easily make you believe that functional nutrition is all humbug and there is no science to it. And the list is endless. There are so many people who just simply just cancel all this out as rubbish.
Yeah.
So I think personally I felt a sense of belonging definitely when it comes to the iThrive tribe.
I think that's a great feeling to have. Like if you have, you want to learn something, and when you know there's a community backing to it, and you know that there's a lot of people who are helping you to reach that goal of constant learning and upgradation, knowledge upgradation. I think that's a very wholesome feeling to have.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And it is true, right? We've all experienced this, right? I say this as an example a lot of times that pre-COVID, when we used to meet, say, people from the same building in the, elevator, we would smile at them, ask them about how they're feeling. During COVID and post-COVID, if we are in the elevator or, in a close space with someone, the first thought that comes to mind is this person going to infect me with something? That sense of paranoia that came in was really difficult to deal with alone. So when you had people with whom you could talk to, especially people who believe in evidence-based science, not voodoo, right? So it really, really helped. I think it kept me sane. I knew that I was breaking up apart at some point, and this tribe really pulled me back to sanity. So I'm truly grateful.
I think that's a very critical point that you make that during COVID, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. A lot of people were mentally breaking apart. And
Yeah.
it was a very, very difficult time for humanity as a whole, for sure. And for you, I'm actually glad that you were able to find that anchor with the tribe, with the community, and you were able to like have that kind of belonging during that kind of tough period, which
It
it
was, it was
was.
truly.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of tough, but also speaking of nice, which one was your favorite module out of all the things that you were taught in the course?
Oh, so I don't think it's fair to single out one module or topic
But
because,
you can. But
you
you
know,
can.
no, just like functional nutrition believes in holistic healing, I think the course is impactful because of the synergy of all the modules together.
Very
I really
diplomatic stance.
I really don't think I can choose any one module or topic. Some topics are, of course, a repetition, considering that I had a postgraduate degree in nutrition. But even within those modules, a lot of my, myths got debunked. There were a lot of learning moments for sure. I think the entire course is built and structured so beautifully that every module somehow either leads you to the next one, or it kind of is connected to the next one in some way. If you don't learn, like I always say this to the students as well, that if you don't understand biochem, interpreting blood tests can just seem like very monotonous and very kind of technical. And if you don't understand health dysfunctions, then you cannot relate it to functional nutrition therapy. If you do not understand anatomy and physiology, you can't make sense of what health dysfunctions is all about. So every module kind of sets you up for the next one. So there's no favorite module or topic.
Do you have one module that you detest the most?
Detest? No, not really. Honestly, not really. I think for me, as a nutritionist, I've never had a lot of exposure to physical movement and exercise and all of that. So I think Kashish, who taught us functional movement, oh, there were so many, if I could show if those light bulbs could actually be visible, I think there would be like 100
Multiple.
floating around my head. It was a great learning experience.
Okay. Okay. So we don't have any favorites. We don't have anything that
No,
we
I
hate.
don't detest.
No, we
No.
don't. Okay. But okay, I love asking this question to different people because I get different takes to it.
Yeah.
So, how do you think that conventional nutrition and functional nutrition, how do they differ? What is different between the two approaches?
In one word, I think conventional nutrition still takes a very disease centered approach, whereas functional nutrition is a very person centric approach. And that makes all the difference. Not from just the healing point of view, but also when you look at it from the patient's POV, the client's POV, they feel acknowledged, they feel seen, because you are dealing with them as a human being and not just as a disease to be treated. So that definite, and this is a feedback that I get very, very frequently from my clients, that, you know, we love talking to you because you don't judge us and we feel that you're listening to us. You're not just dismissing what we have to say. And they have been to different specialists, doctors, nutritionists, different people, and they felt that they were always like, haha, this we know, and we will deal with it. Don't worry. And like, at least listen to us. We have, we may have something that's different from what you've heard about this particular, dysfunction. We may have symptoms that are unique. We may have some concerns that you may not have encountered before. So that is something, I think it opened up my mind to that possibility that person A, person B suffering from hypertension, yes, but A may have different root causes, B may have different root causes, and therefore their everyday difficulties may be very different.
Yeah.
So the approach will vary widely.
I mean, even we maintain this stance that, see, we've had a lot of clients that we deal with, all right? And we get a lot of blood reports that we see on a daily. And till date, even if somebody has the exact same conditions, we've
Correct.
never seen similar reports, never.
Report.
Because
Correct.
to me, that's the beauty of it, right? Every body is different, and the way it reacts, the way it heals itself, it's very different, and it's actually fun, like you said in beginning, right? That it's a dopamine
Proposition.
rush, right?
Yeah,
It's addictive, okay, to actually start
absolutely.
working on it.
Like you sit down with the reports and the history, patient's personal medical history. You sit down and you compare this, and it's like, this explains this symptom,
Exactly.
and every single time that happens. So if it happens alone, when I'm doing it alone at home versus when it happens in the iThrive office, I can imagine the
Yeah.
energy multiplication that happens there. I'm sure
Yeah.
that. And
So
I know now why Mugda insists on an offline work culture, because online, the connect is not there, I guess.
exactly. And we are walking and we discuss cases and we just talk about this client or what happened here or there. It's actually very profound how well we are able to just talk about it and just, somebody's one input can actually change the trajectory to which our client could
Correct.
actually
This
be.
happens in the academy also, right? Like, this is a disclaimer that now I've started giving in every batch, that even though I'm sitting on this side of the table, like I'm a teacher, there's still a possibility that someone from the students might have a deeper understanding of a particular dysfunction, maybe because they've personally gone through that healing journey, or maybe they have researched so much for a loved one's healing. It's definitely possible. So when you work as a team, everybody's collective knowledge will be so much more.
Yeah.
So
I agree because even I like to say this whenever we have any batch orientation calls, right? I always say this that even if we are the faculty and we are the ones actually in the position to teach you, it doesn't mean that we don't learn anything out of you.
correct,
There
correct.
are multiple questions that people come to us with, and sometimes you know the answers, sometimes you
You
don't.
don't know. Correct.
But many a times then we go back, we search for the answer, and then we come back to them, and then like, okay, we also learned something out of it, and so did you. Right?
Yes.
That's the beauty of the agility of actually being
You
able
bet.
to learn here.
You bet.
Yeah. And speaking of like good things that you can take away from it, what was your best learning experience out of the course?
I think for me personally, from batch one, if I recollect, I think I used to love the energy and the engagement during the live sessions. Right now, I think there are multiple options for someone who wishes to learn functional nutrition, but the the kind of learning that happens during a live session is incomparable, right? And I made sure that I attended most of the live sessions, unless of course it was like really unavoidable. I would always attend. And what I truly appreciate, and I have spoken about it multiple times also, is how generous each of the faculty was with respect to sharing their knowledge, and how inspiring they themselves were in terms of updating themselves about what's happening, right? And the biggest example I always say is how Mugda changed from whole food plant based diet to incorporating animal based foods in the diet. And I say that it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of humility to accept that, at that point I did the best based on what I knew, but now I have learned and I know better, so I want to correct my stance and I want to upgrade my stance, not even correct, because I won't say that was wrong and this is right. But that kind of approach and that kind of inspiration really made a difference.
Actually, that's true because nutrition as a field is ever evolving.
Yeah,
Right? Every day you see something new that comes up. Every day you see there's some different research happening here or there. Like it's actually like everybody right now is going crazy about longevity, right?
correct.
And we thankfully through our stream we've been talking about it for a while. But now that the term has come, it
Biohacking, longevity,
yes.
cellular aging, these are all fancy terms. Yeah,
Exactly. So it's like every at every point you'll be learning something new.
correct.
Right? And like you correctly mentioned that it's not as if things become incorrect or maybe they just become outdated.
Correct.
So be able to have that kind of humility to actually correct them or to change them and see what can be best for the other person involved. That's actually very courageous. And
Absolutely.
speaking of courage, did you find any difficulty during the course? Like, did you find any part to be difficult? Were there any challenges that you faced? And was the content easy to understand and follow?
Was. So I think, it would not be fair to ask me this question because I was already like, a decade and a half into being a, practitioner of nutrition, plus a postgraduate education before that really helped. The course was pretty understandable, but that doesn't mean that I never went back and kind of did not revisit any of the content or any of the videos. In fact, I still do. And whenever I do that, I find that, oh, this I did not pay attention to last time, because a lot of these concepts have layers to them. So I think as you evolve as a person, you have a better understanding of the, deeper layers, maybe. Um, Definitely, I think uh, a big part of what you bring to the table when you enroll for this course is dedication and being consistent with the attendance, being there for the live sessions, doing your assignments, reading up and coming, because not just because it is like difficult or technical or anything of that sort, but the sheer responsibility that you'll be carrying after having completed the course of being in a position to heal people, I think should not be taken lightly. And also, let me speak from the faculty perspective as well. Since I started teaching from batch two onwards, I have encountered students who join the course even when they don't have like a science background at their graduation or post graduation level. They've just done high school biology and that's it. But I have really seen that when they're willing to put in that time and effort to, go through the modules and to, attend the sessions and interact with the faculty and get the most out of the faculty in terms of knowledge, they have actually turned out to be amazing functional nutrition coaches. So I don't want to discourage anyone saying if you don't have a science background, you cannot take this course. You definitely can. And we have so many examples of students who have excelled even though they didn't have a science background, so to say, only because they were very, very passionate about learning about their own body, their own healing. And then they also kind of started applying that understanding to their family members, their friends, and then also took it up as a profession.
I'm glad you actually brought this up because many a times we've heard people go like, "Oh, why is this course open to all?"
Well,
Right?
yeah,
It should just be for science people or doctors or nutritionists and everything because then we also have to learn the basics. But then it's unfair, right? A
correct,
lot of people, they might have worked on their own health, they might have worked on, like you said, some loved ones' health, and they've done a lot of research and they're genuinely passionate about working on
correct.
health and healing, right? It's unfair that they don't get that opportunity. And
And
it's
it's not that the academy gives away the certificate just like that.
very easily,
They
yeah.
have to go through a rigorous examination. So they
Very
have to
serious.
prove their mettle before they're given the right to practice this, science on other people. So yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. So that's actually something that people, I hope they understand through this, that it is just not our we don't have a power of attorney over the
correct.
knowledge that we carry. It's
Yeah.
actually
So, forget this course, forget, the whole, quacks and all of that aside. I think diet or eating per se is a topic that you cannot really restrict to just so-called qualified people, right? I think when you speak, like if I travel by an auto rickshaw in Mumbai, I'm sure even the driver has some gyan to give me about diet. He would say, Garmi shuru ho gayi hai. Now you should, start drinking coconut water. Or you take an example of your own grandmother at home. She would have so much wisdom about meal planning and meal combinations and stuff like that. So everybody has some inherent wisdom about eating, about their own body. I don't think that, this kind of knowledge should be, we should gatekeep this. It should be allowed. And if it is coming from a source where every information that is put out is always vetted and we are sure that it is what is the real picture, I don't think that it should be restricted only to nutrition professionals.
Completely agreed. Completely. And I think that's a very crucial point that I'm glad we just covered. And speaking of, again, you've had this certificate for like over 4 years now,
Right.
right? So it's been a lot of time. How has that helped you actually in your, maybe in your career, or have you gained clients after you completed the certification? Has anything changed post ICFN?
God, a lot has changed. So when you look at it, I think energetically, energetically, spiritually, I think the biggest change has been how much my self confidence has grown, right? How much my self worth has grown. So because of that, I think I kind of am able to put out this energy that my clients also trust me more now. And if I have to be completely honest, I haven't really spent money on marketing per se. Okay. Till date, the clients that I've received have all been word of mouth. And that's a big thing in this field because people will only recommend you to their friends or their acquaintances if they are themselves extremely satisfied with their experience, right? And um, I think that at least if you take the statistics, I think out of 10 clients, at least 7 of them complete the 3-month program. We know that, a lot of them don't and they kind of fall off the wagon for various reasons. At least 7 of them complete the program. And those are, they are able to find solutions to at least the top three concerns, health concerns that they had, whether it is insulin resistance or whether it is a migraine attack or whether it is a fatty liver disease or even hair fall for that matter. I think they found the answer. They found a solution that works for them and that is sustainable for them. And it's human nature, right, to recommend something that works to people that you love and that we would like to say that, why don't you try this? The minute we see something on Instagram, the first thing we do is share it with people, right? So that has been like my primary tunnel through which or funnel through which I have been receiving clients. And that I think means a lot to me because you will only recommend if you're happy, otherwise you wouldn't.
And in a world right now where there are so many opportunities for people to connect with like a lot of nutritionists,
Yeah.
and when money is a factor, especially in our mentality, people always look for a cheaper way out. Or
Cheaper alternative.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So if somebody is just, you say you've not even spent like even one penny on any sort of marketing
Marketing.
for yourself, but the trust that people have had who have come to you, who've actually healed themselves, I think that's more than enough,
Yeah.
if nothing else, right? And if I have to ask you, would you recommend this course to others? And if so, what would your advice be to them?
100%. I would. Um, Especially those definitely who would want to work on their health. And then later, if they feel confident, they can also support their family, their friends, and then take on clients as well. But I would particularly encourage my dietitian and nutritionist friends to do this course because only when they do this course will they understand what all they didn't learn during their, education days and how much this field has grown and how empowering it is. And it really would help, mentally put yourself so much higher up in the in the hierarchy, so to say, of healing professionals. You would really understand the power that you hold, the knowledge that you hold can heal people. Uh, it really changed my trajectory. So I would definitely recommend it to my dietitian and nutritionist friends. And I have. There's so many of them who have enrolled because I've been like kind of pushing them, saying, go enroll, learn.
I know, and it's been amazing because we all the people who've come to us through you also, they've also said that Padmashri has guided us well. She's brought us to the right place.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you have been that kind of captain to get them on board.
Yeah, yeah. So, and these are people who genuinely want to make a difference. It's not just about earning. Not that I'm saying that earning is a bad thing. It's great because money is a great motivator. Money makes you help more people.
Yeah,
So there's nothing wrong in prioritizing your financial
yeah.
security and independence through this. But these are people whom I've recommended are people who genuinely want to use their knowledge to help people. So I'm very, very glad that they took my advice seriously and decided to pursue the course.
We are also glad about that. And we are also glad that you could join us today. And it's always a pleasure connecting with you, Padmashri. And I know we've done this officially and unofficially also. But
Thank you.
to actually have a chance to show the world who you are,
Yes.
who is
And
one
if
of
this through this podcast, if more people become aware and they get, intrigued about this course and join this course, I'm the happiest, really.
I know. Thank you for being such a staunch supporter of us.
Always,
And
always.
it's always lovely catching up with you. And thank you for being on board.
Thank you, Shagun. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity.